20 today. But before we get to that, I'd like to talk to you about some things. What happens is when we do the readings, these readings, I go ahead in time for you and I troubleshoot and look and see what is coming and what it is we can change. And sometimes it gives us different alternatives and sometimes it don't. So now I'm going to switch it to my private life here for a minute. See, usually what happens is instead of changing things, it always ends up with you, oh, well, you're always right. The problem with that is if we don't change anything, of course I'm right. And because I'm troubleshooting, sometimes things come out exactly the way I'm perceiving it, and that's not a good thing. So in my personal life, I have been ill for, almost for the whole year, and it's rather debilitating. So in the last 4 years, it has become necessary to update it like every 6 months because nothing ever changes, things happen, and at such a tremendous speed that we do need to update it because sometime within days, things just start going like that. So what I would like for you to do is kind of pay attention. It's really important this time because we are in a really vulnerable time period here. And I cannot promise that I'm well enough to do an update for you. So my intention is to do predictions for the whole year, but doesn't mean that's how it's going to come out because telling time is like shooting the moon with a paper clip. So if for some reason I can't do an update in 6 months, you're kind of on your own on this one. And so after 23 years, I might just have to call it quits because I can't do it anymore. And so that's that part. The other part is normally when I have problems coming in my personal life, strange things happen. This time, I got up one morning and I found a rubber chicken, a plugged rubber chicken in the middle of my living room. Look at it, it's made out of rubber. And I thought, oh, I got some problems coming. And so I wanted to show you my rubber chicken here. Okay. For those of you that watch this every year, I have a workup that I do, and I'm going to read that to you and see what we come up with. As an overview here, it shows that we're going to have a new birth, like a new beginning, but at the moment we're still in the incubating time period. So I think we're towards the end of it. And if we could just hold our horses for just a little longer, things will go our way. It's a very, very hard time to reestablish respect around the planet because of the immaturities that the United States has shown, and the territory or the areas where the supplies is kind of hard to tell because it's kind of global at the moment. We're going to discover and rebirth the love for our country. And I found this really interesting. Our male decision makers is going to be able to incorporate some female tendencies. What I mean by that is males, they're logical and practical and look this way. And females are more intuitive and look at it from a different angle. But some kind of way, finally, the majority of our male politicians, some kind of way they're going to end up with the skill where they can actually pay attention to what goes on around them and make better choices. And that's excited. And so therefore, we're just going to charge ahead. The money is going to be maintaining pretty much the way it is now. The stock market isn't really going to lose a lot, but it'll drop and then it'll come back, and it kind of readjusts itself as a whole, I would say, lots of legal triumphs. In other words, all those lawsuits that stop things from getting out of hand, most of those will be favorable. Can't say that word. Favorable. And we're going to be able to take in new people, kind of like an apprentice, where we can teach them or show them another way to do this. So that's why I think this has something to do with the younger politicians that we have at the moment. So by summer, things is going to even out a little bit. I see a female, a physical female in charge. There will be additional terrorist attacks, unfortunately, but eventually all is going to be well. We're going to recover. It's going to be slow going, but we're going to be okay. Now that's my work up here. And then Kathy Kitchen, the lady that sent in reports last year, was very, very accurate also, and this is what she sent me. She said the suicide rate in the country is going to increase. Some hard times are coming for us to hold on. That's kind of the same here. And hang on to your money, she said. There will be multiple oil spills affecting wildlife, major problems with the bees, and then she talks about an event that makes us feel trapped and alone. I don't know what that is exactly, but we'll get to that as we go along. And Major Pete, I can't say his last name, Buttigieg or something like that, he's going to really rise in the polls, according to Kathy here. And she's been helping me identify and look at things for the last, year and a half, and that's been working out really good. So now we get to the actual reading here. I'm having trouble pronouncing some words because some mini strokes that I had, so I may have to repeat a couple of complicated words sometimes. So we're going to make the country female because I think as a collective we starting to think for ourselves. So I'm going to make the country female this time. And like 6 months ago when we looked at it, everything happened just like that. There wasn't hardly any time in between, but it was still pretty male-oriented, logical, and but here in the last few weeks, things have changed, and the majority of the American population is starting to think a little bit because things got a little out of hand. And let's see what we got here. I work with 2 decks to remind you. This way I get to things faster. How's that? Let's see what we got here. Uh-oh. Not bad. I'm just... I never know what I run into when I start out. And it starts out with legal battles. And it looks like anything the president wants to do at the moment is not going to work. Now, to remind you, I didn't see him hardly do anything for the rest of the year, and I'm going to stick with that. And I think one of the reasons for that is because the courts have stepped in and sorted out some of these unwise decisions and stopped them from happening. It would appear that the economy looks okay, but in a way it really isn't, because you have that up and down, and praying about it per se is not going to do anything, because you kind of got to help yourself. So make wise decisions when it comes to stock market investments, buying houses. If you hang on just a little bit as far as purchasing property and things, if you wait just a little longer, the market is going to drop, and that, of course, would be the time to buy this. And we've seen this before. So for those of you that do this on a regular basis, you'll recognize the signs. Just look for the signs, okay? And then, of course, there's not a lot, but considering nothing's been done, I guess 4 or 5 new laws is going to be a lot. I mean, I'm just a person that watches TV since I can't do anything else at the moment, and it appears that nothing gets done, but I'm sure that behind the scene, they're working on something. So if you have 3 or 4 new laws, I think that would be a lot compared to nothing. This may be the flu season or some kind of plague is the wrong word. Plague is the wrong word. Something contagious that affects people in every state, but I can't tell what it is. But it's maybe it's a flu epidemic or something like that. But illness is going to increase over the winter here. And problems with bridges, lots of problems with bridges. And then there's a danger sign here, a caution sign. This is interesting. Here's a caution, and then it makes reference to, I would say, young people, but then it could also be people that inexperienced. That's the word I'm looking for. There is a lot of inexperience in some of the decisions that will be made, and we could fall on our face really quick if we don't pay attention to that. And so, but that's pretty predestined and laid out, so there isn't really anything we can change there except trust that it'll come out okay. I think quite a few young people is going to be elected, especially on the local levels and things like that. And as we know, it has been proven here lately that the way things are changing, unfortunately, the young people judge everything by what they know and today's standards. And we can't always do that because some things have happened before, and we know what the outcome was. We know how to fix it, and we cannot go by today's standards about the way we talked, the way we did things in the 70s and the 80s, because that was a different time. And this is really important because us baby boomers, for instance, we're trying to adjust to your new world, electronically and otherwise, and we're doing really, really good and trying to do it your way, but you have to give us the courtesy of being able to explain to you why certain things have to work a certain way in order to achieve where you're trying to get. So don't be so judgmental is not the right word. Don't be so hasty to condemn us for the things we say and the way we think, because that's all we know, you know. And then the generation, like, I don't know what you call that generation. That would be the millennials, their parents. See, like my children, for instance, the kids that were born in the 60s and 70s, they think different than we do. And then they got really busy, and of course they knew everything. And so they neglected to teach some of you young people how things was. So your history is really, really important. And don't get so bent out of shape about everything, because that's not in our interest at the moment, okay? Oh. I saw a lot. I don't see anything. That's just a term that I use. I saw Supreme Court Judge Ginsburg, she had a bout with illness, and I think that happened already. So I'm not sure if that's a continuation of whatever she had, whatever she suffered from, but there's going to be changes at the Supreme Court, and one of the Supreme Court judges is missing. So there will be an attempt to make a new appointment, but it's still possible that it has to be put on hold until after the election in November. Don't hold me to that, but that's what it sort of looks like. And then they would appoint another male. But I think one of the females from the Supreme Court is going to have some issues and drop out. So I'm just guessing that it could be a judge, Justice Ginsburg. We cannot have everything that we ask for, and we forget that sometimes. And in this day and age, we want everything right now, like right now. And you have to be a little more patient, because if we act too hastily, it's really easy to fall in a trap. Like, for instance, I know a person that I talk to quite often, and during the conversation, I will try to say something, and I'll start talking, and I have half of a sentence, and this person assumes she knows where I'm going with that, and then she'll cut me off and run with it. And when it's all said and done, what I meant and what I said and what she thinks I said is two different things, and that really causes disturbances. So the same thing with the thinking of the country and the way we do things. Wait till we know the details or the facts, or most of them anyway, and then make a decision, instead of listening to half of it and then running with it. That is not in our interest at the moment. And that goes with, especially with the military. Let's see what that means. When it comes to the soldiers and the military, we really need to calm down and be at a standstill a little bit, so we don't make things worse. Hasty decisions is not going to work at all. And that, of course, has to do with the administration. So if we leave things the way they are, we can sort of ride out that wave that's coming. But if we don't, we're going to have an incident. And it's going to cost us a lot of sadness. And this incident is coming from, I'm thinking, overseas, because it's not a local issue for the country. I would think it comes from other countries. Yeah. I don't like the way that looks. I really don't. But it is because of immature decisions. So, interesting. Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood. I think everything at Planned Parenthood is going to be reestablished next year, where things go back to normal, because the way it is right now, things could go south pretty quick. And the same thing applies to the vaping. Now, I'm in Washington State, and our governor just signed a what do you call that? Anyway, what happened, they had to remove all the flavored vaping products off the shelf, which meant people lost their job. They had to close some of the business and everything. Thank you, control room, an executive order, that's what I was looking for. And so immediately, I mean, it didn't apply to everybody because not everybody vapes, but almost immediately it went to, oh, well, that's okay, I'll know how to make it myself. So, which creates a whole new, different problem with black markets, and people do it themselves, and that's more dangerous because they can actually accidentally kill themselves. So the same thing applies to the country. If you make hasty decisions, it's not even a Band-Aid, you know, it's a spit like that, and one little like that is not going to heal your finger if you have a cut here. So take your time before you make decisions like that. And there's actually people that have a little insight. What I've noticed in the last couple of years, America is getting more open to the idea that some people know, they are intuitive, and they can foresee and predict things. Kind of listen to them a little bit, and I'm really glad that they have finally opened their mind up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because in most countries and lots of religions, that is incorporated. Like the Native have medicine men, and different religions have wise people. And in some countries, they even have mediums on staff in churches. That's normal. So it almost looks like America is finally catching up with the thinking of the rest of the world and start paying attention a little bit. And that's going to be real successful, actually. So that's exciting. Yeah. And just hold still, quit going in circles. And I would say watch your back when it comes to foreign policy, but then there's nothing we can change about that. Yeah, and then here is everybody's so trigger happy. In the last week, 3 people I know really well were in an area where they had shootings. You know, people don't want to go to the store anymore and things. And when from the top down, the chatter is you need to protect yourself, and you need to. Oh hell, I'm just going to say it. I read an article yesterday, and I verified it, where President Trump said, well, you know, the police is ready, my police is ready, my military is ready, and my Trump bikers is ready. So some of us know he's just talking again, but to some people, especially this cult-like following that's happening in the country right now, some people can take this as a call to arms. And that's not acceptable because it's just dangerous. So when you don't want to go to the store because you don't know who's there to do what, we really need to start to look out for each other and quit killing each other, you know? I don't know where that came from. Well, anyway, I guess it needed to be here. So, a lot of pollution, water pollution, lots of water pollution next year. Not sure if that's rivers, it almost looks like it's lakes. A lot of water problems. A lot of water problems. There's a new medicine coming that's supposed to be like a wonder drug for everything. Don't buy into that. Try to do a little more medicinal and learn how to work around your ailments, because being all medicated is not in our interest either at all. I would say there's a problem with Viagra, but I'm not sure if that's what I'm looking at. But evidently could be birth control pills too. It's one or the other. It has to do with pills connected to your love life. Don't know which one it is, but read the label, okay? By June, we're going to see the end of the tunnel. I think I'll play devil's advocate here. Even if the administration was to change right now, and we are in the middle of the impeachment hearings and everything, even if everything was to be changed right this minute, like over the weekend, I'm just saying that, but it would probably take 5 or 6 months to readjust and put things back in a regular order, because everything is so turned around at the moment. So don't relax too soon, because it's really going to take some time to put things back. It'll never go back the way it was before, but we can readjust that a little bit. But don't think just because the administration gets changed that everything is going to be 100%. It's not. And quite a few people is not going to be happy the way this outcome, what that outcome looks like. Now, this is the card that I use when I'm in doubt about something. And this is what I request to show up next to let me know, regardless of what you think, you, meaning me, at the moment, you stick with that. So I'm sticking with that. So don't take a deep breath too soon, because it's going to be a long way to recovery here. Okay, now you can see it. It's the Queen of Pentacles. That's the card I request. Marijuana is not a cure for everything. It might help you with some things, but not everything. And it has come to my attention from some people that smoke that occasionally if you smoke too much, you get really, really bad cramps that almost play out like a busted appendix. So make sure you monitor what you smoke, okay? Mail trucks will be vandalized. About 6 months ago, I hinted at the fact that they would change some things with the private prisons. And I'm not sure if any of that has happened yet, but I'm going to stick with that because it's still here, so they must be working on that. But sooner or later, the prison system is going to change where maybe it's the prisons, maybe it's the detention centers, the immigrant detention centers, because nobody talks about those kids anymore. I guess some of those immigrants are still locked up at this time, and it's October. Today's the 25th of October, 19. So assuming this is for the whole year, it would take 7-8 months before that is finally corrected. But I'm not sure about the time here. I can't predict the time on that, but please don't forget about the kids that is still in cages. That's the term that we use. So, false prophets. False prophets. Make sure that the people that you follow and that you listen to know what they're talking about. Also, a wave of of healers or people that healers or wannabes, people that's trying to tell you how to maneuver your health and your diet and everything. A lot of these are charlatans. So before you put money into something like that, please do your research, because it almost looks like a fad. You know how every 2-3 years a new fad comes along, everybody wants to do this, and then it doesn't work, and then they switch to something else. So there's a new wave coming of charlatans, and I think that has to do with healers. So stick with the ones that you know of, and really, really take a good look at the new ones that's coming along, so you don't get in a situation where you're out of a lot of money and nothing ever happens, okay? Job situations is not going to improve. It's going to stay pretty much as it is. That's long term, so I'm assuming that'll be there for the whole year. And then this is, I don't like the way this looks here. Again, here's a caution. Things are at a standstill. Make up your own mind. Don't follow propaganda. No, that's not the word. Let's see. Make up your own mind, whether it's politically or religiously or anything like that, because this is not a good time to follow what other people tell you, including myself, because I may look at it from a different angle than you are, and fact check everything. Yeah. So. I don't know what that means. I'm going to put this over here, because I don't know what that is at all. Let me see. Maybe it'll clarify it here. No, see, this here, it has to do with back problems and back pain, and with pain, period. And then the next thing that I pulled goes back to the marijuana, what we talked about. So there'll come a time you really have to be careful where you get your marijuana and at what pace you do things, because sometimes backaches or extreme pains, what I thought was backaches, can also go to the front, and that's what I saw a while ago here with some painful side effects of overdoing a good thing with marijuana. That's what that is. Demonstrations, strikes, teachers, school, change in, I can't say that word, curriculum. No, that's something else. Somebody help me, please. You're a teacher. The word I'm looking for is what they're teaching in school. What is it called?
Civics?
No, curriculum. No. 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 Oh, what am I looking for? Curriculum?
What are you trying to describe?
What I'm trying to describe is the things that they teach. Say that again. Yeah, he can't say it either. Say that. In curriculum. Huh? Is that close enough? Well, anyway, Most of you have phones with automatic things, so when you start typing it in your phone, it'll finish it for you. That's the word I want. Curriculums. You start typing and it'll give you a word, and that's the one I'm looking for. Which reminds me, if you remember, 4 years ago I talked about Watergate, and I couldn't think of the name of what it was, and I explained Watergate, and I said we're going to have a repeat, and I couldn't remember what it was. So this word here, I don't know I can't remember how you pronounce it. But like I said, if you type it in on your phone, it'll finish it for you. And then you say, oh, I know, that's what she means. This is going to keep me up all night.
Yeah, I know there's a word, but I can't remember either.
Yeah. Well, anyway, maybe before the show's over, I'll remember it. Okay. We already talked about deliveries. It's going to get harder to get your deliveries, and I'm almost thinking that has to do with the infrastructure of the country, because over here we talked about the problem with the bridges where when you order something online, it doesn't get there in 2 days. It'll take 3 or 4 because the truckers have to go a different route. I think that's infrastructure here. And we talked about the water problem. Flint, Michigan is still not going to be fixed. Some of the entertainers, of course, they're trying to pay for a lot of the cleanup for Flint, Michigan, but it's not gonna be fixed even by the end of 2020. So a lot of infighting, but that's going on right now too. So even after everything has been put in place, this division that we have in the country, that's going to continue for quite a while. I would think it's going to take us 3-4 years to get halfway back to normal, whatever that means. And because we're going to have to almost rewire our brain in the way we think about things. Yeah, this whole, especially 1919 was really drastic when it comes to ideas and the way people were doing things. So please change that, because that's not going to be working for you. And I really can't put a time period on that at all. The recovery is going to be slow. And you know, sometimes it's easier to start from scratch. Many years ago, I lost a house. There was nothing I could save. And that was very traumatic, I thought. And then later in the Nisqually quake, I lost my home. But at that time, I had choices. I could save some things and leave some things. And I found it was harder for me to make choices, what to take and what to leave behind. It was easier when I had to start from scratch. I mean, just start all over. And that's almost what it looks like for the country. It's going to be really hard to sort out what we're going to keep and what we're going to reject. What are the changes we're going to make, and how it's going to play out. It's almost easier to start from scratch, you know. And don't ask me what that looks like and how that's going to play out. I do not know this. Money. Minimum wage, the way it is now in most of the states, people can't pay their rent. So even even if minimum wage was to rise again in 20, so would the rent and everything. So some kind of way, there has to be a balance between what our work is worth, what we're getting paid, and price adjustments, because it cannot continue like this at all. So I'm thinking that one of the biggest concerns in 20 would be cost of living, economy and cost of living. I think I'm going to stick with that. Yep. Very immature decisions ahead. Between now and summer. Well, let's see, elections is in November, so I'm thinking by June or July, people will have a clear head where they can determine what it is they want to do and what it is they do not want to do. But it's going to be pretty hectic between now and then. And of course, some foreign fractions will still try to take pot shots at us. So it's up to us how we're going to handle that. And we really need to show more respect and love for our fellow men, because we got so far away where it was always us and them. That's not going to work. So please work on getting back to, you don't have to love, well, yeah, I guess you have to love everybody, but you just kind of be more tolerant and more tolerant and understanding of the people around you, because right now, if we continue on the path we are on, this is not gonna be good. In the notes here, I called it something. Let's see, what did I call it? Yeah, it says that it would be hard to reestablish the respect level because the immaturity and the territory was unknown. So we can start with our next door neighbor and the neighborhood, and we have to quit killing ourselves and getting shot every time you go to the store and things like that. That is just not acceptable. So change it. Nuclear leaks, more leaks of nuclear material. That's not the proper word, but that's what I mean. Nuclear contamination. There's quite a bit of that. And unless we figure out how to improve that, it's going to affect our house, which means the United States, things will get contaminated. So between the climate change and the contamination of the oceans and things, we really have to put on our thinking cap and work on that more than we are, or else we're going to have a problem. Besides that, it's going to create more jobs. And I have 2 of these. When I have 2 of something, it's really important. So, and this means go with the flow. Don't try to do everything your way. Just kind of go with the flow and see how we're going to be able to fix some of that. So when you say to people you need more love, everybody relates to that a different way. So I'm going to repeat what I said a while ago, just kind of respect and tolerance and appreciation, and be more open-minded, because right now that's not where we are. And who cares if people like you or not? You just do the best that you can, and you live your life the way that makes you happy, without striking out at other people. But you have to be able to live with yourself, you see. And right now, some situations force us into domains that we would be just not comfortable with, so we do have to change that. A lot of anxieties. We started out, Kathy said there would be a lot of suicides, and I'm going to confirm that. Yeah. I was talking to somebody on the phone yesterday. We were talking about, over the years, when I used to be on the road a lot, I noticed every once in a while animals that don't even dwell together, they don't even get along too well, they would all march to the freeway. It's like they was trying to commit suicide. So as a collective, they would just go and get run over. And in a way, we kind of like that at the moment, where we just kind of, as a collective, want to hurt ourselves. That's like committing suicide, when something is that bad for you. I don't even know if that made sense, but doesn't matter. June is very vulnerable. And I think by June, everybody kind of knows what it is they want to do. And we're going to come out of this. Like I said, we're incubating this. It's like giving birth, It starts and then it eases off again. So it's a big baby. That's what it is, a big baby. But we're gonna get there. You know what I mean? So just hang on and don't be so narrow-minded, please. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. The wall's not going to happen, I don't think, at all. And like I said, there's somewhere along the line a female in high places, a decision maker, female. In America is going to be okay. It just takes time and patience. And patience. Yeah, and I feel bad for the military, for the military, because things that's going on is so confusing to them. And but for those of you that want to join the military, please don't stop because of the way it is right now, because it is going to change, and we will appreciate you protecting us in the future. So don't let that deter you. Don't let the present craziness deter you from doing what it is that you want to do. So if you want to go and join the military, you do that, and thank you. Yep. Yep. And then we have a new period, starting a whole new thing. So I'm hoping that's for the whole year, because it doesn't happen like always. I walk out of here and everything falls into place. Just a lot of anxiety here. A lot of anxiety. Yep. And anyway, that's the end of my deck here, and I think we kind of covered a lot of things here. Do you have anybody have any questions? No? No? Any questions?
You have about 3.5 minutes left,
Yes, I do.
but that's not really a question, though.
No, it's not.
How are you feeling?
I feel fine. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we got through that okay. I wasn't sure if I could do this or not. I've just been pretty ill at the moment, and so like I said, please pay attention just in case I can't do that again in June. And at the moment, I'm not really. I really couldn't recommend anybody for you that is accurate. That is that accurate. And what do I mean by that? Everybody looks at things different. Most people that look ahead in time look at it from a different angle. So what I meant was that they do things different. So I can't compare to what we do here. That's our own little thing here. And then if I can do it, then I don't think it'll get done. Then you will have to go to YouTube and see what the astrologers say, and but they accurate because they understand the stars. And by the way, thank you, Dan Bennett. That is Jupiter behind us today. Yeah.
Yeah, the great red spot.
Yeah, that's what that is. And
There's a storm coming.
he says it's a storm coming. So pay attention to your inner self here. I just hit the mic. I hope that didn't make any noise, but
Oh, it wasn't too bad.
good. So anyway, make up your own mind, and I wish you well for 20. And if we have to, and if I'm well enough, we'll do it. We'll do this again in 6 months or something like that. And so, yep, that's all I know about that. And I can't believe I got through this whole thing. I kept saying, I can do this. But you know, when we do things like that, we just a tool. We're not really doing it because we get help from somewhere else. So we just.
I'm glad you got help, and I'm glad to help you.
Thank you. Dan Bennett is the director. He's talking about the control room. I wasn't talking about the control room. I was talking about the universe. But thank you, Dan. Yeah. That's what it was. And then, and vote. Will you please vote? Vote. Very important. That's how you change the world. Vote. Yeah. That's it. It's time to go. We got 30 seconds, and I see you another time. And be good to each other, okay? And quit shooting at each other, please. Please. I'll see you next time. Love and light. That's it. Hello. I think they're all gone. Bye. Oh.
Still young, would like to thank you for all the fun. And you took us here, take us there. And it's just because you really care where our journey goes. Oh, care